As part of a recent Freedom of Information Act filing from the ATF, GOA was able to uncover some interesting information on what exactly counts as, or in this case, doesn't count as, a silencer under the National Firearms Act. Hi, I'm Ben, and you're watching the Minuteman Moment. So let's break down what GOA learned from these FOIA documents that we sued to get from the ATF. Under federal law, the term silencer includes not only complete suppressors, but also any combination of parts designed or redesigned and intended for use in assembling or fabricating a firearm silencer. In 2017, the Firearms Technology Criminal Branch received a request to examine, as part of a criminal investigation, a group of items, including a Napa fuel filter, a muzzle thread adapter, several automotive freeze plugs, and metal tubes. These items were sent for test, examination, and classification in order to determine whether the combinations of parts constituted a suppressor. Now, for those of you who aren't fluent in bureaucrat and don't exactly know what this means, the ATF was sent a group of spare car parts that might be in any homeowner's garage, and were asked to decide whether or not owning them makes you a dangerous extremist that deserves 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. Now, what makes the case even more interesting is that the automotive freeze plugs were paired with a blue plastic disc with a hole in the center. Now, the ATF has claimed it was a template designed to be placed on a freeze plug so that the center could be marked, punched, and drilled out to create a silencer baffle. But most importantly, this step hasn't been done yet. So one would think, based on the ATF's current rule regulating unfinished frames and receivers that are sold with jigs to finish the manufacturing, the ATF would have seen this blue plastic disc as a jig used to turn these parts into a suppressor, right? Well, the ATF officer in charge of reviewing this case said that none of these parts are subject to regulation and are not firearms or firearm silencers under the GCA or NFA. Of course, we already knew that the ATF's theory in the frame and receiver case was nonsense, as GOA previously uncovered ATF letters opining that including parts, templates, or instructions with an 80% receiver does not create a firearm. But, and this is a big but, this contradicts the frame and receiver rule, which says solvent trap parts are suppressors. The rule currently says that if you have these parts before you get a Form 1, you can get charged with unlawful possession. This means 10 years in jail and $250,000 in fines. Now, even more recently, the ATF released an open letter to all FFLs saying that certain 80% frames without jigs are guns. These constant flip-flops may seem like words just written on paper, but there are a lot of real-world implications. Take CRS Firearms case, where Matt Hoover is being prosecuted for selling a flat card that has auto key markings on it. In that case, ATF claims that this template, a drawing on a flat card of metal, is a machine gun. Yet in 2017, ATF claimed that virtually the same template for the silencer baffles was not an NFA item. So how exactly does the ATF think they can get away with charging a man for selling what are essentially a metal plate with some carvings in it as a machine gun? So now more than ever, GOA stands behind our plan to defund and abolish the ATF, which is already in progress. Step 1, eliminate the NFA and all firearms registrations associated with it. Boom. We've got the Short Act from Senator Marshall and Representative Clyde, and the Hearing Protection Act for suppressors. All that's left is machine guns, and we're working on that too. Step 2, eliminate the ATF's unconstitutional gun and gun owner database. GOA has supported Representative Cloud's no registry rights from the very beginning, which forces the ATF to destroy the hundreds of millions of records and prove to Congress they actually did it. Step 3, getting rid of the GCA's unconstitutional regulations. Nixing the NICS system and all the other ridiculous bottlenecks, regulations, and infringements used to gatekeep American citizens from their constitutional rights to the Gun Control Act is something that we've long supported. This year alone, GOA successfully was able to shoot down a GOP expansion of the NICS system, and we're fighting to roll both it back and the rest of the GCA. Step 4, overturn all of ATF's unconstitutional rules. GOA has sued the ATF for the two most recent rules, the frame and receiver rule and the pistol brace rule. Plus, GOA has boldly stated publicly and in meetings with lawmakers and their staff that we support defunding the ATF today. It's going to be an uphill fight, but we've got our battle plan and we're full steam ahead. Thanks for watching the Minuteman Moment. I'll see you next time.